And we're back with another video about the Ford Explorer F1 conversion combination. Everybody calls it like a mod, but it's basically taking a Ford 1951 Ford F1 pickup truck, cab, fenders, hood, all that stuff, and slapping it on a Ford Explorer chassis. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And so far, this is where I've gotten. I've cut the whole top off the Explorer, all the A pillars, the B pillars, taking the seats out, taking the steering wheel out, taking out the dash, taking out the wiring in the dash, and all the body wiring is back here labeled, and hopefully I'll remember where it all goes. Steering wheel, passenger seat, wiring for the dash, got that there, and all the other parts are kind of lined up over here in my garage. So I decided to pull all the crap out of the dash so I could start mocking up what I'm going to need to cut off when I put the F1 cab on here, because the F1 cab is about, I want to say about 9 inches narrower than this dash, so I'm going to have to cut out like 4.5 inches on each side, which is basically going to be cutting off the vents, the heat vents on each side, which is going to be interesting. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I've seen people cut these off and then like fiberglass over it or redo it all with fiberglass. I've seen a couple of trucks that did that. Worked out pretty well for them. So that's what I might end up doing. Probably going to fill in where the airbag is. I don't know if I'm going to want the passenger airbag. No offense to my passengers. I just think I'm going to get rid of that airbag, and not sure if the glove box is going to stay or not either. So we'll figure that out as we go. Again, this is just this is my first major project like this, converting like a, I guess a new model to a put an old body on it. So we'll figure out how it goes. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is keep the B pillars. I cut the B pillars off. So I took all that out. So that had all the seat belt like mounting points on it. So there's a lower seat belt mounting point, and then the upper one that was adjustable. So I'm gonna keep those and weld them into the cab on the 51. I have a feeling that once I start putting the dash and the cab on the 51, I'm not gonna have a lot of room from the seat to the steering wheel. Every time I've seen people do this with like the, I wanna say later models, like the 53 to 56 models, there's really not a lot of dash room, or not a lot of room between the steering wheel and the dash, or steering wheel and seat, sorry. Get confused, it's been a long night. So anyhow, yeah, I'm thinking either I'm gonna cut 4.5 inches out of this, the glove box, air box section, and move the vent in and work it that way so it looks somewhat stock, and then like put a filler panel in where the airbag was, and where might be able to work with cutting the glove box down. I'm not sure. It's gonna be one of those do it as we go kind of thing. So the next step is to get the 51 cab over here one of these years, and well, pop it on the back here. I'm actually thinking about cutting back here too. I'm gonna cut along this line here, along the tire, and then down, and then here to that seam, and maybe keeping a little bit of floor pan back here, and using that to build the support for the bed off of. And back here was where the rear seats mounted, and it was on like a spring plate that, like, when you put the seat down, the plate came down with it. So I'm thinking I might use that plate to spring down and then mount the battery back here so it's kind of out of the way, because obviously up here the battery's close to the inner fender well. And again, this firewall on the Ford Explorer is about, again, I think the firewall is about 10 inches wider than it is on the F1. So I'm gonna have to cut off about 5 inches on each side, and 5 inches runs to, you know, right about where this fuse box is. It's gonna be right across here. So anything outside of that is gonna have to get relocated. So the battery, ABS module, fuse box, not where the brake booster might have to get moved a little bit. I'm not sure yet. Wiper motor, gonna have to redo the wipers, because I'm thinking this whole top shelf here is gonna have to get cut off as well. Might have to relocate the computer. That is definitely gonna have to get relocated. modified. I saw some guy on YouTube where he cut off the blower motor from here out, took this and stuck it up in the inside of the F1 cab inside here. But I don't know if I can do that because he did it with a Grand Marquis on a 55 Ford, and this is a Ford Explorer on a 51 Ford F1. So there's not a lot of room to try to fit that. Plus this one has, it's kind of hard to see, but in there, that recirculating for the recirculating the fresh air or air inside the cab. So if I was to cut that off, I could probably make it work and stick it under here. But with that little recirculation vent tab, I don't know what's gonna work. So no idea how I'm gonna make the air conditioning heater system work, because I want to keep as much stock as possible. I know a lot of people would say it'd be so much simpler to go to Vintage Air or something to that, but I want to keep it as much Explorer as possible, so all of the controls and stuff like that work. I'm gonna keep the stock radio, so all the controls on the steering wheel will work, keep the dash, all that fun stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna try to keep as much Explorer as I can and just use the cab of the F1 and the bed and all that fun stuff. So that's where we are today. Today is first day it snowed in Minnesota, October 15th. So yeah, it's crazy. We're getting snow already, but thankfully it melted real quick because the ground's still kind of warm. Everything's pretty warm still. So, but yeah, that's my that's how I am so far on the Explorer. Hopefully next time you see a video, you'll see a F1 cab floating around here somewhere instead of a Grand Cherokee, a Subaru, and a Mini. You'll probably see some kind of body of a Ford F1 sitting around here somewhere. So that's it for now, man. Have a good one, guys.